Hey, what's going on, my good people? Today I want to talk to y'all about the timeline, and I'm going to use the details given to us from the autopsy report so we can get a clear understanding of what happened to Shanquella on Saturday, October the 29th. So, come on, ride with me. In the autopsy report, they told us that Shanquella was taken to the medical forensic service on October the 29th, Saturday, at 8:30 p.m. But they did not perform the autopsy until the next day, Sunday, October the 30th, and they started it at 9 a.m. And if you look in the report right here, it says at 9 a.m., they gathered at the autopsy table at the medical forensic service to examine, identify, and perform a necropsy on Shanquella Robinson. Now, we know that the necropsy, also known as the autopsy, started at 9 a.m. And further in the report on line number 7, it told us that the necropsy ended at 11 a.m. So the autopsy lasted 2 hours from 9 to 11. So when they tell us about the time of death, they told us that it was between 17 to 20 hours when the necropsy was performed. So they gave us a 3-hour time frame, okay? So understand this. The autopsy report did not, let me repeat, did not list an exact time of death, but yet they gave us this time range. So I created this time chart based off of the information that they gave us. On the left-hand side are the hours of the autopsy, which was from 9 to 11. And I also included the 3-hour time gap that they gave us, which was 17 to 20 hours. And y'all know me by now, I'm a very visual person. So I needed to see it this way, okay? But based off of this chart, what this told me was that the earliest time of death would have been 1 p.m. The latest time of death would have been 6 p.m. So now let's look at the events that unfolded between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. that Saturday. Come on, y'all, we still riding. We were told that this fight happened between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. And sometime shortly after that, we were told that a maid found Shanquella dead. Now, here's the problem that I have with this. We don't have the witness statement from the maid. We don't have it in any of the reports that we've been given thus far. So as far as I'm concerned, I can't ride with that right now. It has not been verified. We're going with a detail that was given to us by someone else who was not there. Okay? So again, I can't ride with that. Not right now. And understand this. I'm not saying that the maid didn't show up there at the villa. Because in the description of the villa, it said that there is maid service Monday through Saturday. So I'm not disputing whether or not the maid showed up. I'm sure she did. I'm disputing the assumption that the maid found her dead. That's it. Because everything that happened after this suggests that Shanquella was still alive. In the concierge statement, he told us that at 1:50, 1:52, Dejanay sent him a text asking him which was the nearest medical service. And she told him, I think my friend has alcohol poisoning. The concierge stated that he did call the doctor. And I believe that because in the description of the villas, it stated that in the event of a medical emergency, the guest should contact the concierge to call the doctor or an ambulance. And that's exactly what he did. He said that he called the doctor at around 2 p.m. In the police report that came out first, it stated that at 2:13 that Saturday, medical help was summoned to the villa. And then don't forget that at 2:17, Nazir is pulling up out front. Okay? And he even told us that he wasn't there for not even an hour when the doctor showed up. They told us that the doctor got there at 3:15. I think it was closer to 3:30, but hey. They said 3:15. That's when the doctor arrived. Now, when the doctor got there, of course she had to assess the situation, which is why in the police report, she said that when she got there, Shanquella had stable vital signs but dehydrated, unable to communicate verbally, and appearing to be inebriated. Because the friends are still running with this whole alcohol poisoning. Okay? The concierge told us that at 4:25, the doctor texted him and told him that after Shanquella was evaluated, it was determined that she needed to go to the hospital. Now, the concierge did say that he asked the doctor if Shanquella was in serious condition, and she told him no, but that Shanquella does need an IV because she was damn near unconscious. So what this statement told me was that at that very moment, they hadn't given Shanquella an IV yet. In the police report, it stated that the doctor said she was told Shanquella had drunk a lot of alcohol and that the medical call was for Shanquella to be given an IV. And so the police report matches what the concierge told us in his statement, that the doctor's medical call was to give Shanquella an IV and send her to the hospital.
The nurse came in the door, tried to help Quilla, tried to put some salines in her, but her energy, she didn't have no electrolytes, her oxygen was low, so she couldn't find them.
In the police report, it stated that the doctor was there for close to an hour when Shanquella began having a seizure, and the seizure lasted less than a minute. Now, if the doctor got there between 3:15, 3:30, that means Shanquella started to seize between 4:15, 4:30. And I believe that the IV is what triggered the seizure, but that's just my opinion at this point. But it would put the seizure happening after the doctor made the call to the concierge, telling him that Shanquella needed to go to the hospital. So after Shanquella started to seize, she began having difficulty breathing.
911 call was made at 4:37 p.m. on the afternoon of October 29th, 2022. She reported that a person had suffered a convulsion due to dehydration from alcohol ingestion.
Now, in the police report, they told us that Winter called 911 at about 4:20. But in the transcripts from the 911 call, y'all heard it, Winter called at 4:37. And this is after the seizure because Winter told the 911 dispatcher that Shanquella was having convulsions. And when her pulse stopped, the doctor, along with a friend, which I believe to be Nazir, began CPR on Shanquella at 4:49. So now let's think about time. If Shanquella began to seize at about 4:30, that means within 20 minutes, she crashed, which is why they had to do CPR. And don't forget, at this time, the ambulance is already on the way. The doctor, see, here's the thing. The doctor already knew Shanquella was in bad shape, which is why she made the medical decision, the medical call to send Shanquella to the hospital. And I know it was a lot of talk like, the friend said no, they didn't want her to go to the hospital and the doctor listened to them. No, she didn't. She made the call to send for an ambulance. Okay? She didn't listen to those kids. So when Shanquella stopped breathing at 4:49, the doctor and Nazir did CPR on her until the ambulance got there at 5:19. So it took the ambulance about 40 minutes to get there. And when they got there, they took over. And they worked on Shanquella for another 40 minutes. And within those 40 minutes, they gave her another 14 rounds of CPR, 5 doses of adrenaline, and 6 AED shocks. And they couldn't save her. And they pronounced her dead at 5:57 p.m. So based off of the timeline, they worked on Shanquella for about 1 hour and 20 minutes and still couldn't save her. Now, don't forget about this chart because I got 2 issues that somebody need to explain to us. My first issue being, how were they able to give us an exact time of death on that death certificate? Because they told us that she died at 3 p.m. That's what's on the death certificate. Where did that number come from? It's not in the police report. It's not in the transcripts from the 911 call, nor is it in the autopsy report. I just showed y'all they gave us a range. So where did 3 o'clock come from? Now, my second issue is this. In the autopsy report, there was 2 external injuries that Shanquella had that they associated with time. These 2 right here. She had contusions to the right and left iliac crest, which is near her pelvic area. Okay? In the autopsy report, it said that she sustained those injuries more than 12 hours before death. Again, she sustained those injuries more than 12 hours before death. Now think about this. And I know some of y'all still running with the maid story and the maid found her around noon, 1 o'clock, whatever. But no matter what time you're going with, whether it's the 1 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, or the 5:57, count back 12 hours. You're going to get 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 6 a.m. So as far as I'm concerned, the way that this autopsy reads, Shanquella sustained those injuries before that fight video. How? I mean, was they fighting off and on throughout the night? I mean, come on, y'all. Make this make sense. I'll be back.